As I said, I'll be using Python programming language to write to the Kinesis data streams. Now, if you are using Python, you need to have the library called Boto3. Now, Boto3 is the AWS SDK for Python. And to use this, we'll have to install Boto3 using pip3 install Boto3. And then we'll have to import it, create a Kinesis client using boto3.client, mention the service name, which is Kinesis, and the region. I am showing you here AP South 1, which is Mumbai region. And then we can send data using either put record API, or we can use put underscore records API. If you use put record API, you are only sending a single record. So in that case, you'll have to mention the stream name, the actual data, the partition key, and the stream ARN, which you can get from our AWS console. But if you are using put records API, then you'll have to send all those records in an array, and each record should be a dictionary, and it should contain only the data, the actual data, and the partition key. And the stream name or the stream ARN should be common for all the records. So if the record size is less than 1 KB, then we'll be using put underscore records API. If it is more than 1 KB, then put record and put records would be more or less similar. But still, you should do the calculation which API would give you more throughput, or which API can be used to send more business records to Kinesis data streams. Now, when I say business records, those are nothing but the actual records that you have. But for Kinesis, a single record would be considered when you make a single API call. So that's all about writing records to Kinesis data streams. Now it's time to do some hands-on. Let us go ahead and do that. So I have opened PyCharm. Let us go ahead and create a new project. And this is the folder where I'll be creating the project. And this is the virtual environment. I do not want to integrate this with Git repository, but let us go ahead and create this project. So this is the blank slate, or this is the beginning of the Kinesis coding that we're going to do. Okay, so first let us go ahead and create a Python file, and I'll name it as 3am Kinesis producer. As I told you that we need a AWS SDK to send data to Kinesis data streams. So to use AWS SDK, we'll have to use the module Boto3. But it will give me error because Boto3 has not been installed in this virtual environment. So let me go ahead and install Boto3 first. And you already know the command, which is pip3 install Boto3. So this is the AWS SDK for Python. Now once the Boto3 is installed, we'll be doing the coding, and we'll read 3 user files and send it to Kinesis data streams. But to send to Kinesis data streams, we need an AWS user, right? We need AWS credentials. I cannot send records directly to KDS unless I'm allowed to do so. So for that, I'll have to do IAM based authentication, and I'll be creating an IAM role. So instead of IAM role, I'll be creating a user because I'm running the code from my laptop, or I'll be executing the code from my laptop so that I can send it to the Kinesis data stream. So that's why I've created this user 3am admin, and I'll be using the AWS terminal to configure this 3am administrator. And this is the command AWS configure. I'll have to provide the access key ID and the secret access key. And then I'll have to provide the default region name. In our case, it is AP South 1. And after that, I should be able to send or write records to the Kinesis data streams that I've created. The reason is because the credentials, which are access key ID and secret access key, so these credentials that I'm using belong to 3am admin user, which has administrator access. And as I'm using Python Boto3 library, this library will go ahead and automatically fetch the details from the location where AWS configuration is saved.